StacheCast, baby.
How's the stash?
Glorious.
That's what I'm talking about.
This is StacheCast. Let's go.
So work that waiver wire, make those trades. Do what you got to do. Let's go. Don't be a quitter. Don't be a quitter.
Come on. Do you even want to win?
Jared's like, I'm going to drink a beer a hole, and then does.
Now you get to date your favorite color.
Played the School of the Blind 3
You
times.
played nobody.
All girls
You're
school. Way to go.
You're playing nobody.
So they got 11 guys that want to kick your ass too.
Nia Long, man. Nia
That was
freaking
like-
Long.
It has been
Did he feel it?
uphill both ways through shit creek.
I'll be naked, passed out somewhere on the floor. Hopefully it's just my own room.
Their offense is great. Their defense makes me want to shit down both legs.
I'm not playing for the next 2 hours. Bring me some chicken.
He's not superstitious, but that sumbitch is a little stitious. I'll tell you that. There ain't no doubt about it.
StacheCast, baby.
Let's go. This is StacheCast. Coming live from downtown Nashville, Tennessee. I am Nick Mars, host of this unfiltered, ridiculous, and relatable sports show. We've got a lot of things to look forward to this weekend. Before we get into any and all that, I am joined by my stooges here, the dudes, the gang, the crew, the cast, my favorite people on the planet. Joe Hudson is joining us again today. Glad to have you, buddy.
Hello, everyone.
Our professor, Alex Alper, is with us from Los Angeles as always, and K Love keeping us together while JJ is away, and we are so grateful for her. JJ is still out as he and his wife are trying to get settled with their new baby girl. So happy for them. Shout out to JJ and Haley and little Leighton. She'll be on the show as soon as she can, so we're really excited that she has made it into the world. And
sponsor us.
It's almost Friday, y'all. Big weekend of sports this weekend. Conference tournaments are already getting going in basketball, men's and women's. I'd be honest for a second before we get out of the gates here. Women's basketball is doing things, y'all. They are doing things. I'm being honest. I am loving women's college basketball right now. I'll be honest. I wasn't always the biggest fan. It's a little slow for me, whatever you want to say. Roast me if you'd like, but it's true. It's not always been the easiest thing to watch. But y'all, Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, buzzer beaters, Aaliyah Boston, Haley Jones, Diamond. That's just a few. These girls can flat out play. We're watching highlights of 83 to 85 games, and there's girls running down the court that I'm like, and finishing at I'm like, who are these girls? Where are they coming from? Like, this is amazing. Like the growth of the sport. Like, and if you're not watching, and I granted their TV is king, right, Alex? And there's probably not a ton of exposure with women's basketball, as we've all seen, but watch some of these girls play. They're flat out dogs out there. I'm talking Angel Reese at LSU, she's grabbing 20 and 20 just like it's no problem. Shaq's flying in to watch girls basketball games. Me and Chris are looking at each other like, Shaq's in the stands to watch a girls basketball. Now, granted, he was an LSU guy and he's a big supporter of the program, but still, he's going to watch girls basketball. He wasn't at the
Women's basketball. Women's basketball.
Whatever.
Women's basketball.
Whatever. You little pipsqueak. I'll say whatever. I don't give a shit. I'm saying they get it. It's the same sport. At any rate, Shaq's watching these women play basketball and he's supporting it. And I got to be honest, I watched the buzzer beater from the girl from Iowa, Caitlin Clark. She hit it. She ran in the stands and she was like, this is my place. You know, it was
10
great.
on the celebration, 100%.
Yeah, 10 out of 10 on the
celebration.
celly. Like, it was great.
From all the judges.
Well, and I've played basketball like my whole life, and so I absolutely love it. Now I've never truly also enjoyed watching women's basketball. I'm not going to lie. Like, I played it and loved it, but I didn't necessarily enjoy watching it. I did intern with the Lady Vols marketing when I was at UT for the years I was there. And so I got to be there with Pat Summitt and,
wow,
Candace Parker too. So I got to be up and close next to her. Actually saw her dunk. So that was cool.
That is cool.
Yeah, I got to see her dunk because, I was over there rolling posters of her wingspan Like that's one of the things that we would do, like as the marketing, we'd give out posters, we'd give out certain items, for the first 100 people coming in. I'm sitting there rolling posters of her, so all of those things are really fun to be a part of, especially with Pat Summit and that her legacy that she left with women's basketball. So it is neat though, when we were watching highlights, the other night, and it was like, oh my gosh, like they're crushing it. Like Dawn Staley with South Carolina. I mean, they are a force to be reckoned with that I don't think anyone can really take them. There are a lot of very impressive women out there that are crushing it.
Color me impressed. I'm impressed, and I'm tuning in more than, and I would encourage anyone who's not been watching, tune in, go give them a shot. Watch some of these girls that you're hearing about on Sports Center. Go watch them play and appreciate what they're doing, because it's fun to watch. What's up, Alex?
Do you think so? I agree 100% with you both, and I haven't been the hugest fan, honestly, until like the last couple of years. And I'm wondering why that is. Do you think it's because UConn now doesn't win damn every championship like they did for 1,000 years? And before that, it was like, between them and Tennessee, you might as well just put them in the finals and like whatever, we'll watch it type of thing. But now there's so much parity. Like USC has the number one women's college basketball player and the number one men's college basketball player, both coming next year. But they got a new coach, and it's like there's so much more parity. And now because of social media, because you don't get to see a lot of these games, ESPN doing a great job of getting more stuff on. Same with Fox, sponsor us. But I think I'm enjoying more of the social media bits and pieces that I'm getting than I ever before.
Same.
I think it's a variety of different factors. I think it's that. I think it's also the relevancy of women in women's sports that's, before didn't get a ton. That's why you had the top winners and the top dogs like Pat Summit and Gino and all of that constantly, just because it wasn't as popularized. But I think with, they're trying to make room for women and involve them more, which I'm not a feminist. I am not a feminist at all. So I don't get all butthurt about a lot of things that women do, but I think there's a lot of different factors that play into it, whether it's the coaching, the new coaches that are coming in. There's so many different aspects of it that, I think it's all just kind of building it up together.
Yeah. It's got to be a little bit of all of that. I think the social media definitely is putting it in front of us where ordinarily it might not have been, but the product itself is better. The players, the girls, the coaches, it's better. It's better all around. You're getting, it's not 38-35 and you watched, and it felt like they were playing in sand. These girls are getting it up and down the court. They're filling up the basket. They're playing hard. It's not, it's not the same game that it was. Everything is evolving, and this is not any different. And I'll be honest, it's more fun to watch. And I enjoy, the fact that half of the highlights on the top 10 were women's basketball, and they weren't like, they were actual highlights. They were buzzer beaters and great plays and, unbelievable plays and great athletic, shows of athleticism. It was great to see. And it's not to say that hasn't always been there. It's just like you said, it probably hasn't been right here. And with social media, it's brought it a little bit closer, and I'm all for it. So
it sucks that it has to be social media and it's not the TV. Like, you have all these people on their pedestals talking about we need more equality and we need to have more, the women are unpaid. And it's like, well, it starts with TV, like Alex has taught us. So where's the pressure on the TV stations to buy these contracts, to pay these women, basically pay these leagues more money to promote women's equality? And that's something that if you want to go deep like that, it's like, well, if it starts with the TV, then go talk to the TV stations. Don't get mad at somebody for not watching it because they want to see dunks. If that's their prerogative, that's their prerogative. But if it's not a lot on the TV, the social media, I think we have to depend on it, and it's so much more accessible.
But you do see a lot more on TV, like a lot more women's like sports are on TV. Like
there has to be,
baseball or whatever it is.
Dude,
like
softball's on every day.
Softball, like that's it's on a lot more. So they're doing a lot. And I think from an equality, like you have female referees. now too. Like if you look across the board, they're trying to, have more women on air on these shows, sports shows and things like that. But it's across the board that they're trying to do more. But but at least they can actually back it up. It's to the point of it's not like it used to be, and it's evolved.
Two of the biggest NIL deals in the nation are the twins that are now playing in Miami, the basketball twins. And they've got God knows how many 10 million followers and whatnot. Well, those followers are not only watching them, on social media, they're now watching the Miami basketball team and learning more about Miami. And now young women are trying to say like, hey, I want to go and do what they're doing. Maybe I'll go to Miami to do that, and literally putting them on the map. So I think the NILs is maybe even a bigger deal in women's sports. It's obviously like great players are going to do whatever, but if you're able to monetize your following, you can go play a sport and get a scholarship at a college. That college is going to be like, wow, I can get 2 million more eyes on my school by bringing this lady in here. Hell yeah. It's good for both sides.
If you think, yes. And then, but the Miami players, and then also the LSU girl, the gymnast, they're really attractive. Let's be honest, like sex sells too. At the end of the day, they're really attractive. So they're also getting that kind of acknowledgement because the way they look, like especially the LSU gymnast and all the guys that like were waiting for her outside. I mean, there's more to it than that too. But
agreed.
Well, other than that being whatever that being neither here nor there, is the point is that you're talking about extreme examples. You're talking about these two people that have massive followings that not everybody does. You're talking about somebody who is a golfer at, Georgia or something like that. They won't have 2 million followers. They might only have 25,000 followers. But the reality is that NIL opportunity is utilizing that 25,000 for something that they can help to monetize it. And it might not be in a huge, massive, nationally known deal, but they are in place for them to be able to do some things. And that's the opportunity that, that we'd like to see more, is for the athletes that are, not necessarily trying to be insta famous as well as, an athlete. But back to the basketball part of it. College women's college basketball is, and as far as StacheCast is concerned, is on the map, and I'm in. So I can't wait to see how it goes, and I'll continue to watch, and I look forward to their tournament that's coming up as well. The men, on the other hand, it's not really a rivalry week, so to speak, but there are some games that are rivalries. We've got UNC Duke that's coming up on Saturday. Bama plays at Texas A&M. Kentucky, who's now ranked 23, goes to Arkansas, who's always hard to beat, especially at home. Tennessee's ranked 12. They're going to Auburn, which, the Bruce Pearl connection. That's, Auburn can be sneaky. They can, they'll get streaky on the outside. They can be a problem, especially the way Tennessee's looked lately. Kansas is number 2. They're going to number 9 Texas. That's going to be a big game. The Big 12, like we've seen all year, has just been an absolute, just Goliaths beating on each other all year, back and forth. So to see who comes out of that conference in the tournament will be interesting to see. Pitt is 25 to go at Miami, who's 16, and then 8 Arizona plays at number 4 UCLA as the nightcap on Saturday, which will be probably the game that puts me to sleep, because I don't stay up that late these days. At about 11 o'clock, I'm out, and those West Coast games start late, son. But if you had to pick one game, Joe, that you felt like had the biggest postseason implications off of that list, which one would you say stands out to you the most?
Honestly, probably none of the ones that you listed.
Okay.
UConn and Villanova is sort of a sleeper matchup that I'm really actually kind of interested in. I love the sneaky nature of Villanova always. We were talking about Syracuse before, and it's kind of like, I don't know, Villanova, I think they beat Xavier, they beat Creighton, and UConn is looking kind of like old school UConn a little bit. And teams like this type of matchup where two teams are trying to elevate and get that momentum going, and they're also they're going to be underdogs very likely. Well, at least Villanova would be if they get in. But anyhow, I think that game is just kind of an interesting not talked about one. Duke and UNC is going to get plenty of stuff, but these games, I mean, you got to just hope that nobody gets injured. That's kind of what I look at. Like, people, boys are going to be playing hard this weekend, man.
Yeah, they are. But I mean, they're playing hard. Things happen. It is. I don't think that the injuries are something that you hope. I think that those teams like that, though,
You just
they're
don't
just
want
not
anybody
as,
going to
they're just not as
hurt,
deep. Yeah, you want everybody to go in healthy. It's more fun when everybody's full strength. I agree with you on that. But Alex, what about you?
I mean, I'll keep it on the West Coast with Arizona and UCLA. Both of those teams at one point in time, Joe Lunardi had them either at a 1 or a 2. And so we'll see what happens.
There's still probably a 1 and a 2.
Mm-hmm.
But those two could flip flop. And if
It's true.
and that could be interesting. Like UCLA is going to be a lock for the Pac-12 tournament at a number 1, but Arizona, USC right next to each other. So we'll see.
We shall see.
What about
K-Love.
you guys?
K-Love's always watching UT.
Always, yes. But I would say, anything with Kansas, though, I mean, I, definitely have a tremendous amount of respect for them. So Kansas and Texas, I definitely look forward to that game. Think that'll be a great one. But I always love, yes, Tennessee, but also I was there when Bruce Pearl was there and I absolutely loved him.
Yeah.
So I hated when he left and the recruiting violation and all the crap that got spun out because of that. But so anytime that we do play them, I do get excited because I absolutely loved him in that era. So I'm excited for both of those reasons.
Wild
there.
dude, you're right. That was a very memorable era, Bruce.
It
Pearl.
was. He was so fun. And everyone loved him. So, we were like, no, we didn't want to lose him, but it is what it is. So it'll be fun to watch.
Interested to see if Kentucky keeps winning too.
Yeah, that's the game.
That's
That's the game that I've kind of got my eye on, is that Kentucky-Arkansas game. I think Kentucky can get by Arkansas. That's a lot of momentum coming into a tournament where you've got, Tennessee's only got 1, maybe 2 games to get their kind of ducks in a row with their injured guys getting back before the tournament and, all those kinds of things. That Kansas-Texas game is going to be a barn burner, though. I want to, if Texas is benched, what's that kid that comes off the bench? His name, Rice. If he gets going, that kid's like 6th man of the year for sure. And if he gets going, then Texas is a problem. That's pretty. I think
agreed
that they kind of live and die with on his sword. And if he shows up and he's ready to go, then they are a problem. And they made, it was hard on, he didn't have a very good game when they played Tennessee, and Tennessee was able to get by him. But he's come alive as the last couple of weeks here. And, like I said, I've said it a bunch of times, Big 12 is stacked. So I'll be interested to see who comes out of that. But
and hats off to Texas they're still playing without their coach, right? They fired Chris Beard earlier in the year. So
that was so early on, though. I feel like that was enough time to they kind of stumbled after that. I felt like they did kind of running around like a calf staring at a new gate a little bit, just kind of. But they got it figured out, and they've been playing some good basketball lately. Have you never heard that one before?
I don't.
Rod,
I think I stopped listening when I saw your facial expression, though, and I was just locked in on how aloof you were and spaced out you were. I was like, that was pretty good.
That's a countryism or Nickism, one and the same.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My dad's got 1 million of them, so there's no telling. I'm looking forward to there's a couple of baseball matchups this weekend in college ranks that are kind of interesting to look at. Like Florida and Miami are playing already, and we talked about that earlier a little bit. Welcome back to his USC change of hat.
USC UCLA, man. I can't be wearing that powdered blue. That's not a UCLA hat, by the way. It says Seattle.
Okay, we won't.
Yeah.
You're clean. We'll let you pass. Like I said, Miami is hosting Florida this weekend, and then we did a little digging. UCLA and USC, they're playing already. So What does this look like nationally? Everybody's moving a rivalry game to the beginning of the season. What's up with that?
Sounds like it. You know why?
Because it's raining.
TV.
TV.
Oh,
I mean, you
TV.
gotta get. I mean, thing is, I don't know if like, and I think you guys know I'm just like a normal baseball fan. I don't know of any rivalries in college baseball that even meet like tier 3 rivalries in college basketball or college football. You know what I mean? Like, what's a rivalry in college baseball? I feel like.
Well,
I don't know.
if you listen to Mason talk last week when Kristen asked him about the UT Vanderbilt rivalry, that's a pretty strong rivalry, and that gets a little bit heated. And baseball rivalries are a little low key because they're always there, and there's similar ones there. The Auburn Alabama rivalry's there, but it's not as it's all a product of how much notoriety or whatever awareness is being given to sport. Baseball doesn't get a lot of coverage. Like if you want to go figure out who won it,
really
who won, it's almost hard to go find it sometimes.
I don't think ESPN even has a college baseball page. I think they just have a college page, and then you go find the baseball tab.
Yeah, it's
got
difficult
its
to
own
find.
basketball.
It's a little bit of an adventure. It's more of a treasure map than a GPS. So you got to kind of hunt around for it, but it's there.
Just BS.
Yeah, it's annoying, but
It
it's I don't understand why it's so hard to find, but
Nope. Me neither.
that totally threw me off. I can't. Anyways, the college baseball game. What were we talking about?
College baseball, the rivalry
Florida,
weekend.
Florida, Miami.
Right.
Tennessee.
Florida's
Who's
playing
Tennessee
Miami.
got?
Tennessee's
Yeah.
got Gonzaga coming in. So I was like, that doesn't make any sense.
Are they good? Powerhouse from Spokane. Shout out to my mom.
I don't know. It's one of those teams that I feel like I would be curious to find out, and I would love to talk to somebody who goes to Gonzaga and played there and see if they experience the same stuff that the northeastern teams do over here, where they don't get it. How cold is it up there? How rainy is it? How much, how often are they able to get outside and play over the wintertime or before January, February, before the games get started? Is this an opportunity for a team like Gonzaga, who's in cold ass Spokane, Washington, to go to Knoxville and play in some semi-warmer weather because that they have to, because it's too cold to play up there?
They're 1-7 right now. So
okay, so another lollipop for the Vols. Well
there
done.
it is.
Well, the Dayton Flyers got their ass mollywopped last weekend, so we might as well put the Zags on the same list and keep this train moving. A little momentum never hurt going into some actual.
Pitchers look good, man.
Yeah, they did. We've got some arms, but you got to put the numbers up on the scoreboard. So I was more happy to see the hitters get going a little bit, because that was the thing that worried me. Was that we're going to have a bunch of pitchers throwing gems every weekend, and then we get beat 3-2 kind of stuff, because that's going to be a long year. If you've got just absolute studs on the mound and you can't get a W because you can't put you can put any runs up. But it looks like we got plenty of ammunition, and we're going to get Maui back, and he's eligible this year, which is good news. There was a little bit of a hiccup there. I know that people talked about the self-imposed suspension on Vitalo because of the recruiting violation with Maui, but it's all cleared up. Everything's good. Maui's going to play. Superman is back. It's all going to be good. So we look forward to getting him back, and hopefully he doesn't miss a beat, because he's a hell of a ball player. Have you watched him play at all, Joe? I know you like Dickey. Have you watched Maui play? You like the way he plays?
Nope.
He's our shortstop.
He's at Kansas, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't watched him play at all. I tried, but I'm lying right now. I never tried. And maybe
You couldn't watch him because he was ineligible, right?
Yeah.
he sat out all season so far, right? Like he hasn't played at all, right?
Yeah.
There you go. Can't watch him because he wasn't.
How has
playing,
his
Joe.
backup done? How has the person that filled in for him done?
He's done just fine. He's no Maui though.
Yeah.
So we'll look forward to getting him out there.
I'm
guess
more
it
of a
was worth
Kauai guy. Yeah.
The recruiting violation. Hopefully we can make it through another season, without
Without
another
cheating.
Yeah.
Speaking of Mason, by the way, he popped off pretty hard about Vandy and UT and all that last week. Gave some Vols a little shit off their 1-2 start. Well, they're 5-3 now, and so he can sit on it like that. If he wants to come defend those 3 losses, then he knows where to find us. You know what I mean? We're easy to find, Mace. So we did last show. We did a new segment and it was this or that, which we had a good time trying to decide which is more likely to happen with some certain scenarios. Today, I want to do another new segment, and this one we're calling Big Little News. So we got little stories that are happening, not necessarily nationally known, that come to us. People send some stuff to us. If you want to send something to us, reach out to us, DM it, send it to us directly at Nashville Stash on Instagram, and send us all your good news stories, your heartwarming stories, little stories that are might seem like a little story, but they have a really big impact on you or your family or somebody you know or somebody in your town. Send us all that stuff. But this segment, Big Little News, is a positivity segment. I feel like it's our opportunity to put some positivity back out into the world. There's a lot of crap going on. There's a lot of negativity and all of that. And I felt like, this would be a good opportunity for us to spend a little bit of time talking about some stuff that makes us happy. Does that sound like something y'all look forward to doing?
Yes.
Am I gonna cry?
You might.
Let's go. Let's go.
I'm a crier. I have no shame. I'm a crier.
There
I
it
cried
is.
in-
Me
I cried in
too.
Toy Story 3. I cried. In
Oh
Polar
God,
Express
that one
every
got
year.
me.
All right. Well, I'll start us off with our first one, and then here on the coming weeks, we'll let everybody who gets a little bit more time to prepare. I kind of sprung this on you guys a little last minute, so we'll give everybody a little bit of time to prepare. But this week's Big Little News comes directly from outside of Nashville, Tennessee, Hendersonville High School. Sergio Peralta, 15-year-old kid, just started at Hendersonville, and he wanted to hide his hand because he was born with without it being fully formed. And so an engineering teacher and a couple of his students and friends from the school, they worked with Peralta, and they developed a robotic hand using online models and a 3D printer. And the quote from the story was, "They changed my life." And that's what he said of his friends, and they're not his lifelong friends, and he's looking happy as ever. And he is rocking and rolling. So congratulations to Sergio on your new awesome robotic hand. And this story is awesome. Their friends are amazing. And if you get a hold of this story, we'd love for you to come on the show and tell us about it, and have your friends too. That's an amazing story. So congrats. So thank you for sending me that story. It was local. And it really touched us, and that's something that we're all about. So really happy for Sergio and his friends at Hendersonville.
That's awesome.
That's a really cool story, man.
Love it.
Yeah, crazy. I mean, 3D printers, and it's like you can really, if you set your mind to something and you get down there. I mean, these students. I mean, you're talking about high school engineering, teachers and students, and they're getting in there and they're doing stuff. They're saying, "Hey, why not? Hey, why not? We could we figure it out? Yeah, probably. Let's give it a shot." Right.
You heard the new app, Chat GPT, and it's it's genius. It's self-learning based on what humans do. And basically it wrote a kid's paper, it typed up the paper, and then they used a 3D printer and put a pen in it and had that printer handwrite what the Chat GPT created to create an actual handwritten paper with a 3D printer.
No more homework for me.
Crazy.
Well, if you're smart enough to figure that out, I don't think you need the homework.
That's such a great point.
So
It's true.
Man, what a great response.
I mean, what are we wasting his time with? Show me your work, Charlie. I need to see your long division. No, you keep making things that are going to help the people in the future be more efficient. That's what you need to keep doing. But
that's an awesome story, and just the going above and beyond for other people, and the thoughtfulness of just going that extra mile to help someone. It changes their life.
People are still good.
Yeah.
I know we see a lot of stories about the bad that's going on, but people are still good.
Yeah.
And people want to do good for others. And when there's an opportunity to do something good for other people, I'm standing in the airport in Tampa, Florida, about to fly home last week, and a young man named Sean comes up to the line of people as we're all about to get on the plane. And if you've ever been on an airplane, the mood of the people that are standing in line to board that airplane before they go on. He makes an announcement to the entire congregation of people about to board this airplane. "My name is Sean. I have Asperger's. It's a mild form of autism. I have missed my flight due to my own fault. They can't rescheduled my flight. I don't have any money. My credit card is negative. and I don't have the hotel room they want to put me in is $140. I don't have the money to get in the hotel room. If anyone could please help me, it would really, really be great. And the people left out everywhere. He was standing right next to me. So fortunately I didn't have to get out of line, but people were, coming from everywhere out of their line, leaving their spot to come and help this young man out.
Awesome.
People are still good, y'all.
Yeah,
and it's
most
out
people
there
are.
and don't let a couple, the bad, the bad eggs or the bad stories or the bad experiences or whatever, let you forget it, because there are still good people out there. And, I got to see a bunch of them in Tampa, and I got to read about them today with Sergio and his friends at Hendersonville High School. So big little news. So it's little stuff. It might seem like it's little stuff, but it can have a really, really big impact. So keep those good stories coming in and keep that positivity going. Kristen?
And I've got one too, and this is a small one that happened for me. And again, like you said, no matter how big or small, but I've been going to the gym a lot, working out, trying to get ready for my wedding and fitting in the wedding dress. And I just had the fitting, and, and it was a day I just wasn't feeling great. And this girl comes up to me in the gym, and she just said, she was like, actually she came up to me in the locker room, and she said, I just want to tell you, she's like, you are absolutely crushing it. She's like, I've seen you in here a lot lately, and you've been crushing it. And so I just wanted to tell you. And it was like the sweetest thing that actually has had a huge impact on me since she said that, because, you never know what someone's thinking. Like, she doesn't know that I'm about to get married and I'm trying to fit in a wedding dress and whatever. So it's like just that little phrase that came from a complete stranger. She's in high school. She goes to Franklin High School where I went. So shout out to Franklin. Her name's Maggie. And so now every time we see each other, we talk and in the gym, and just kind of started a relationship or friendship from that. So, you just don't know, just one little thing you can say to someone that can completely change, what they're trying to do for themselves. And she didn't have to do that,
She floated in the door that day, y'all. She floated in. She's like, you're not going to believe what happened. And I was just like, atta girl, Maggie, appreciate you, one for the home team. Yes.
You probably never forget that either. You probably never forget
no.
that remark, that comment.
She's
awesome.
She's a senior in high school, and I'm 35, awesome. And it was just so unexpected and so kind. So just little kind things like that can make a huge difference.
I really appreciated Maggie's her kind words at the gym. I don't know her. I've never seen her at the gym, but thank you, little Maggie, for your kind words. You're a sweetheart. So thank you very much for that. Big little news. So next time we will we'll see if we can get something from the rest of the guys on the big little news. You got one for us tonight?
I mean, it's not really news. It's more going back to golf in both the men's and women's champ, with Chris Kirk, and obviously what he was talking about. That's something that was not a secret, but it is very tough, I think, for a lot of people to talk about. And I grew up in an environment where I was going to AA meetings. I'll just say that I was going to meetings every once in a while as a child, and practicing my rollerblading in the basement and listening to what people were saying. And I actually have AA books on my bookshelf to be able to give to people, something that was kind of told to do it. But it's an incredibly difficult thing for people to overcome. And it is something that the chances of him inspiring someone to stop drinking are much greater than the chances of him inspiring someone to become a professional golfer after that win. And that's a pretty profound outcome, that is the focus, as opposed to him winning. And the women's champ, I think it was Lilia Vu. I remember reading about her talking about, like, she was in dark places, thinking I'm no good. And I know she's young, and that's a different part of the generation, but that also, I think, represents most people out there. I'm not good enough. I'm not going to be able to do this. You don't know what that part also, can do for somebody out there. So I think that this was just a win for the general population of people that are out there struggling with whatever demons, and being like, it's just good to see somebody overcome that, man. And not like some pompous dick who's got like a felony charge for assaulting his girlfriend or wife, go get the MVP or some shit. And like, there we go again. We let that pass. It's just a good story. So I thought it was awesome, and definitely struck a chord, I'm sure, with a lot of people.
For sure.
That's awesome.
Congrats to Chris Kirk on that win. That was it was a great win, and grinded it out. It got away from him there on the last hole. He he rinsed one,
Get it up like a rock or something.
yeah. So he threw a dart in there on the playoff hole, and Cole's putt lipped out. Just the way the cookie crumbles. But you got a long way to go and a lot of things to do to get to that point. So to be able to be there, to be able to pull through, get a win, congrats to him. But also congrats to Eric Cole. I mean, runner up, as a 34-year-old rookie, that's a great, a splash onto the scene. So you love to see it. One of the things I talked about Tampa, on the flight there, I sat next to a lady named Laura, and Laura is a publicist of sorts. Has been a publicist for quite a few people over her years. Lives in Las Vegas, and one of the people that she was talking about, one of the stories that she was talking about was that because at the time Brett Hundley had just gotten signed by the Vipers, the XFL team in Las Vegas, and he got signed to the largest contract in the XFL, and his contract is $200,000. And so what got me thinking, there's not a lot of money going into, how much money is going into this thing? I mean, they're on TV, so they've got the access to the TV, but I watched the game. There's nobody there. There's hardly anybody there. Even the game when it wasn't raining there, or when the games are nice weather, I haven't seen a whole bunch of people in the stands. What they're all practicing in Texas, and they're flying out to play these games. Like it's very similar. It's very similar model to the USFL, where they were playing all their games in Birmingham, then when they played the postseason in Canton. But I guess my question with the XFL is, if they've got the TV deals, why? I just feel like there's not any money there, and it shows. It kind of looks like they're playing at a glorified high school or a junior college.
Yeah,
like the product looks like a MAC midweek game of the week kind of thing, and the product's not all that much different either. And it might be just because it's early. I don't know how much training camp they got. I don't know how much time these teams have been able to get together, but there's no doubt that these kids are playing hard and they want to win, and the heart's there. They're playing, and I mean, it's not like it's just it's not like it's a joke. Like they're taking it seriously. It's just, it's just an interesting watch right now. Have you watched any of it?
A little bit.
What are your thoughts? Other than the rules, I like some of the rules, the onside kick rules, and some of those changes with all those kinds of are kind of interesting. But as far as the X's and O's product, should I rephrase the question this way? If I automatically look through it the lens of this is a minor league football league, and if I look at it like the minor league baseball or the G League or any other minor league sports team that's a minor league to a full-time up, a bigger league. Does that change the product at all? If I look at it and go, okay, these are minor leaguers that are trying to make a shot. The reason that they're not in the NFL is because they're not as good as the NFLers. So they're trying to get there, trying to get a shot. If I look at it through that lens, does it change the product?
Yeah, I do. I think so. You look at it through the lens that they're not good enough. I mean, like I was saying earlier, like why watch college basketball when you can watch the most elite NBA players in the league? Most people don't feel that way, but like logic says, well, I would rather watch something better. But XFL is, look at it not as a sports league and look at it as a startup company. Startup companies don't come out swinging with all these great accolades. The marketing needs to get its footing. You need to go out there and get told no a ton of times, and 90% of startups, I think, fail. So if you look at it as a startup business, it's going to have a very hard time actually making it. It's already failed before, right? I mean, this is
Many
something
times.
that, right. So it's not, and I think to make it exciting, you have the USFL and the XFL. Whoever is the champ of both of those leagues plays each other, and the winner of that plays the last place team in the NFL. And whoever wins that gets the last place.
You're trying to bring in relegation into the NFL.
That's my point is that's the only way that I think that these leagues become relevant.
So let's say that. So
I'm not saying do it. I'm just saying.
So the Texans, who got last place this year? The Texans.
No, it wasn't Texas. The Bears.
Okay,
the Bears ain't going anywhere.
Right, the Bears ain't going anywhere. But if the Bears got relegated, they would be. If in your scenario, the Bears go to the XFL and the Renegades get promoted to the NFL for the 2023.
I just think that's the only way to make these leagues exciting and relevant, because you have a direct path shot into the NFL if you just go win. And that's the only way, in my opinion, like right off the bat, you could have them be super exciting. And it also, I mean, how many people are going to be not excited to watch which NFL game? You think of the bets before the season. Which team will get relegated in the NFL? You know?
These teams are so bad, Joe.
I know they are, which is why I said
it's a minor
Georgia
league.
Would beat them.
Right, same. I agree with you on that. But if I'm looking at it from a minor league perspective, it is a individidual player thing.
Mhm.
Like if I'm looking at Mason Hickman, he's an individual who has an individual stat line. He's a pitcher. I'm moving him up or down based on his performance. No different than I would if it was a quarterback or a running back or a lineman who I'm moving. I'd say, okay, this guy could play in the NFL. The guy next to him, never going to happen. So relegating an entire team based on, and replacing it with a team of essentially Keanu Reeves replacements.
Very fair.
Is not you would have to give the opportunity of the guys on the NFL rosters who are trying to make that team the opportunity to go play in the XFL and raise the talent pool in the XFL or the USFL to even begin to have that conversation. Right now, I feel like you'd have to look at it from a player. You look at PJ, whatever his name is, the guy that got to he played for the Panthers this year and he was with the Renegades last year, PJ Walker. So you look at players that get an opportunity, which they might not have ordinarily had, but I like the model of the XFL and that they're trying to create the inside of the team model hierarchy, what have you, like an NFL squad, so that you get used to the kind of, if you do get that opportunity, that it's more of a stepping stone is what they're saying. But on the field, they're, it's like scrimmages that are, it looks like a spring game. Like it's, and I agree. I get it. What you're saying, as far as a startup company, they're going to come out firing with everything that they've got. They've got to bump their head and figure out their own way. And it'll obviously evolve and get better as the season goes on. But they only got 8 weeks. You know what I mean? It's like, they don't have a ton of time to get a bunch of things figured out. They've already got this money that, that is being paid or spent to be on TV. Like, we got to do something.
I don't know if they're getting paid or they're just being put on TV to like take up some hours, and maybe it's not like the NFL that are charging $1 billion for their Thursday game type of thing. The XFL is probably not getting a lot of money. In fact, for the LIV tournament, which is on the WB, I think, or the CW or one of those things. I think they're the same channel.
Yeah.
They're not paying right after Dawson's Creek rerun. They're not paying $1 to show that stuff. So it's like, we're just putting it on TV to help increase the chance that people start watching and become more a part of it.
It's not doing them any better on the CW, and as if they were airing it on right here on StacheCast. I'll tell you though, that the CW is, I don't even know I don't even know if I get that channel. I don't even know where I'd look for it. But anyway, I was just curious, man. It's one of those things where it's football, so you watch it and you go, okay, well, it's like watching your buddies play Madden and one of them finds a play that works and he just keeps running it over and over again.
Is that bad? It's
what the XFL game was like. It was like, and I'm sorry, this is recency bias. So I've watched a few games, but the most recent one, it was pouring down rain and they just ran the quarterback draw. Like
every time.
It was like Michael Jordan to the right, Michael Jordan to the left. Like it was just
Was
he was
it,
the only one they couldn't.
Was
he
it
was the only one
Brett
that could
Hundley
stand
for
up.
the Vipers? Who were you
Yes.
watching?
It was.
So he's the highest paid player in the league. He makes
Yeah,
200K.
When you took off for your wardrobe change a few minutes ago, that's what I was telling. I sat next to his publicist on the airplane, and she was talking about his he just got signed and how he didn't get to play the first week, and now this was his first game actually playing for the Vipers. But yeah, the whole conversation started on if the highest paid player is making 200K, like how much money is really getting pumped into this thing?
Every player makes 60K, and you get 20K in benefits, but that's not paid 20K. So 60K plus
NBA.
Yeah, but even those ladies are making more money than this.
So they get paid 60.
But that's for 8 weeks. It's not, you know what I mean?
60K from 60K for the season. So
True.
including preseason or training camp through the end of the season, they're making $60,000.
Gotcha.
And a lot of them are doing this, obviously, like Nick said, as like their tryout to the NFL. They're going to get on people's rosters. I'm sure the NFL has their scouts out there looking around and being like, hey, did we miss anybody?
Practice
Do you guys
squad.
remember who that guy was who was in the old XFL? And it was like, his name was like, He Don't Hate Me or
No,
something.
He
or
Hate
other.
Me. It was
He Hate Me. There it is.
Rod something. What was his name?
Yeah.
The Bengals or something.
He made it
in for like a couple of years.
Rod Smart was his name, I think.
There it is.
Yeah, I think it was Rod Smart. Yeah, He Hate Me. But
I'm
the
gonna look it
XFL
up.
back in the day, it was like NFL Blitz. The first round of XFL was kind of intense.
And I think, it's so hard because you've watched the
Remember that?
NFL.
Rod Smart. Good
You're
pull.
trying to compare the two, and you can't compare them, obviously, but
Nah.
it's tough to, you want to watch it, like you said, because it's football, but it is so different. It feels like a mediocre high school football game, and it's empty in the stands. It's just, and you really do think, how are they making money though? Like, I look at I look at the uniforms, and like you talk about TV, like you're like, what are they paying for, and how are they making money or generating revenue? That is what I think whenever I watch it. So I'll give it a chance.
We'll keep watching it and I keep asking questions. But I will say this: the rules of the with the converting to 4th and 15 as opposed to the onside kick. I mean, what did the McCarron? He scored like how many points? And like it was ridiculous. They scored a touchdown, got a 3-point conversion. Yeah, scored a touchdown, 3-point conversion, converted the 4th and 15, got the ball back, went down, scored again. I was like, well. That gives new meaning to I ain't heard no fat lady. Like it ain't over till it's over.
Well, and
rules.
That was a great video of him, because you could see, to the point of how passionate they are still. Like when he was being interviewed and his boys were right there, and he literally started tearing up and welling up, and that's how much it meant to him. So to all these guys who are playing, regardless of
professional athletes. Yeah.
Like it still means a lot to them.
Following their dreams.
Well, you need
but I mean,
recognizable
the whole
names like him.
Yeah.
He's at least somewhat recognizable, and you need more people like him that people are like, wait a minute, he's in the what league is this? Like I saw Josh Gordon caught a touchdown the first week. I was like, Josh Gordon went to the XFL? What?
3 targets or something or other for 10 yards in that game or something. Yeah. See, I'm paying sort of attention. But the Rock bought this entire league for $15 million. So they're not making a lot of money, and it's going to come from TV if it ever becomes popular enough. But we'll see. It hasn't, from what history has showed us thus far. Minor league football, European football, none of that shit works.
Yeah.
We'll see. Everybody, I talked to my buddy Jesse, and he's like, as long as there's football on, I'll watch it. And I'm like, yeah, well, same here to a point, but it's like my job is to, if I, look at it and watch it and say, okay, well, what am I watching here? What, all that kind of stuff.
I mean, it's either that or NBA.
Yeah.
So
college basketball.
Hell, we can't find the CW anywhere. So I looked up, I looked up the golf schedule. We don't have another live golf tournament until the 17th of March. They're playing in Tucson. So that'll
be their first broadcast, right? Or have they already started?
I know they played last week, but I don't know.
Oh, well then.
Or not last week. Yeah, I think it was last week. They played last weekend. So I don't know if they've
they did
got on WB yet. But we'll have to see if we can move Dawson's Creek down a slot so we can get a little golf in. PGA is at Bay Hill, the Arnold Palmer Invitational. It's one of the bigger tournaments. I mean, it's a massive purse. What did you say? $20 million? What are you laughing at?
I just looked at a headline from the Mirror. Live Golf TV debut woes laid bare as more people watch World's Funniest Animals TV show instead.
Well, that was one channel before the WB. They didn't make it. They were clicking. They're like, oh, animals. Yeah.
Does the dog have a mustache?
Yeah. That's sad.
Yeah. So it reported the tournament grew a 0.2 TV rating on Saturday.
What's the
0.2% of the household measured in the area turned on to the international event, and that's across 26 different markets. So that is not good.
What about
No.
the PGA? Did the PGA suffer at all with losing?
0.2? No.
They did fine.
Nobody.
Yeah,
I mean, once again, they're not doing a lot of advertising to tell people that this is on the CW. So.
Dub.
Well, C-dub.
Yeah, the C-dub. Wow.
So funny to me. Well, like I said, we've got the Arnold Palmer this week at Bay Hill. It's one of the bigger tournaments. I like watching it. It's kind of the Florida swing. It's just I don't know, something about it being Arnie's tournament. You know, there's that whole kind of something in the air. Kind of, you go to, it's kind of the old Yankee Stadium. There's just something about the place. You know, he was so good. You know, he means so much to the game, and I think it means that everybody who goes and plays there, they wear the little, you know, they wear the little flag or whatever the umbrella is, that his thing, and you know, it's just a lot of history is involved in this game. And I think the guys that play golf, if you watch the Full Swing stuff, they care about the history of the game. The guys that stayed with the PGA, the reason they stayed is because they care about legacy. And, you know, there's nothing, you know, Arnold Palmer is, you know, we talk about legacy, you know, there's really not a bigger one, you know, in the game of golf, as far as the folks who have passed on. Obviously there's a lot of big names still with us, Jack, Tiger, etc. But what Arnie meant to the game was different. And I think that comes out in the players and the way they play. Plus, you know, it's a hard golf course. It's one of the top 3, if I'm not mistaken, hardest golf courses that they play on the circuit. And it's one of the few tournaments that they play at the same place every year, at Bay Hill. And yeah, I think it's just all the big guys come out, all the big guns come out, start shooting for it, and it's a fun tournament to watch. So I'll be.
Who's gonna win?
That.
Who's gonna win?
Ooh, I'm going Rombo. Give me Rombo to go to get back out there. But Max Home is hitting the ball really good. He's easy to root for.
Rombo, is that John Rahm?
John Rahm, yeah, John Rahm.
We're not on nickname basis yet, me and John Rahm. So
well, you'll get there.
Okay, so look at Nick. Well, he doesn't have his beard right now, but
No,
look at
game.
pictures.
Stash.
Look at pictures of Nick, and as you know him too, with a beard, and then look at John Rahm.
Oh yeah,
that's his doppelganger. So
I would agree.
So I have been a huge fan of John Rahm ever since I saw him, discovered this, and I was like, so, and I like
so we
him
pull
a lot.
for John Rahm.
So we always pull for John Rahm.
Yeah, so we'll watch John Rahm pull out but you know, there's no telling who's gonna win it. I just think that golf's such an interesting game that anybody could literally go out there and get it done at any given weekend. So it'll be fun to watch.
It's gonna be Rory. Rory's gonna come back and
pulling for roars. Okay, I don't mind that pick.
Rory. Yeah.
Forgiveness is the commercial, so it cracks me up. Well, you guys got anything else before we get all up in this weekend coming up? No.
I need to sign my kid up for sports. I realized that I've let the deadlines come a little too close. I may let him pass. I'm gonna have to get creative. This was the first season that he really became super intense about the sport. 8 years old, and just seeing that moment, I was like, all right, I was 8 when I started playing, and I didn't quite get it. He kind of got it. Like, he was really upset that he lost. I was like, hell yeah!
Well, you better get on it, Dad. You better get on it. We had a great week. We had a really great week. I'm excited for next week. We have a special guest joining the show next Friday. He is a Knoxvilleian. He is a absolute joy to be around. He squeezes the drop out of life every single day and has a blast doing it. I am going to leave it a little bit of a secret. We've got a couple of teasers next week for who we're going to have, who's going to join us, and we might have something special up our sleeve. So I'll keep it under our wraps. But you guys tune into the Instagram. It's at Nashville Stache on Instagram. Also, go subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nashville Stache. And check us out. We break everything out. We got a bunch of videos up there that we put up, full episodes, individual segments, and all of that good stuff. And we are so happy that you guys join us. Thank you again, Alex. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, K-Love. Thank you for being here again. I'm
Thanks,
Nick
Nick.
Mars. This is StacheCast, and we cannot wait for next week. Have a great weekend. Until then, be good, be well. StacheCast out.
Congrats, Chip.
I've been on some other shit, just lost my fucking brother shit. Now I think it's time to beat myself back to the mothership. J-Rock is my co-pilot, that's the one that I hover with. Love the way we stubborn, like we rule our own government. We come through so thunderous, like everybody else is under us. I might go like I said, everyone they're going.